Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, joined by two of the best over at WagerTalk in Sports Memo, Andy Lang and Rocky Atkinson. We are talking some NASCAR today. Look, guys, I know I'm from Kansas, but I have no idea how to bet NASCAR. Never even been to a NASCAR race. All jokes aside, you guys both hit it an incredible clip at your respected websites. Andy, I'll let you go first and kind of pat yourself on the back.
Well, it's not necessarily patting myself on the back. Okay, it's patting myself on the back. No, the winning percentage in NASCAR is pretty incredible. Rocky and myself, we hit 65% of our head-to-head matchups every year. If you're hitting 65% in football or basketball or baseball, you're seen as one of the best handicappers in the world. And that's what Rocky and I do. But it's a fringe sport, so it doesn't get a lot of coverage. And people are missing out on including NASCAR in their portfolio of gambling. It's an easy sport to bet. The winning percentage is incredible. And it's a really, really big money maker for both myself and Rocky.
So, Rocky, I've heard several times on social media or wherever that NASCAR isn't a sport, but if you invest the correct way, you can make a ton of money betting this non-sport.
Definitely. I hear that so often from my followers. NASCAR isn't a sport. How do you watch that crap? Or, they'll come with, I only bet football, whatever. They're missing out on some very easy money. Most definitely. You need to treat betting NASCAR as an investment. You don't have to watch the race, you have to like car. But if you invest, then you might be doing so. Simply following our advice and make good money year after year. As Andy said, we've been very successful in NASCAR this year. We had a NASCAR show going on. I know NASCAR like the back of my hand. I'm only 15 minutes from the track Too Tough to Tame in Darlington. So I've grown up a big NASCAR fan. I've attended many races over the years, not only at Darlington, but other tracks. So I feel like I know the sport fairly well. I'm 89 and 50, 64% the last 3 years with all my NASCAR picks. So definitely a money-making opportunity.
I like it. Now, let's go into a little bit more here, Andy, on how you guys actually bet NASCAR and how our clients and our listeners can get involved.
It's all about head-to-head matchups these days. So the head-to-head matchups, the books will put out a number of matchups, one driver versus another, and who finishes ahead of the other driver wins. And that is where all the value and all the money is to be made. We don't do outright winners. Those days are gone. 10, 15 years ago, the books were not very apt to how the numbers should be evaluated. And you could hit 15-1, 16-1, 17-1, 20-1 on winners. But those days are gone, and it's all down to head-to-head matchups. And the sports books, they don't put all their effort into putting out the great lines on the head-to-head matchups. You can find soft numbers and great value every single week. The books are putting all their effort into football, baseball, basketball. That's their big money makers. But when you get into these fringe sports like NASCAR and you get into these head-to-head matchups, Rocky and I will find every single week a guy that is an underdog that should be the favorite. And you just don't find that in other sports. So the value is there, and it's all in the head-to-head matchups.
Awesome. Rocky, I'll let you have the last word here on what you like to bet as far as NASCAR goes. I know Andy said, which was surprising to me, that there really is no value these days in betting the winner. So talk what you're looking for in head-to-head matchups and what your clients can find from you over at Sports Memo.
Yeah, the books have several options to choose from, such as picking the driver to win the race, picking the driver to finish top 3, picking the driver to finish top 5, finish top 10 in the race. I picked many drivers to win the race correctly year after year, including this year. The odds makers have dropped those odds so much, though, that the value really isn't there anymore. Like Andy said several years ago, you could have gotten a good driver to win the race at 10-1 odds or better. Now we're seeing those same drivers at 2-1 or 3-1 to win it. So as Andy, I also concentrate on the head-to-head matchups. This year, the head-to-head matchups have doubled, maybe even tripled in size from last season. What I do, the way I handicap NASCAR is this. First off, I look at how the drivers have done in the past at the track they are racing on that week. Then I take a look at the track type to see who has done well at the track similar to what we are running on for that particular week. We have several different track types in NASCAR, including restrictor plate races like Daytona Talladega, road courses like Watkins Glen, Sonoma, the new Charlotte Roval, cookie cutter speedways like a Darlington, for example, short tracks like Martinsville or Bristol. Then I look at momentum. Who are the hottest drivers over the past 3 races? Who are the hottest drivers over the past 10 races? Who are not hot right now? I have a formula for every sport I handicap. NASCAR is no different. I go through my formula and create my Rocket Man line, and then I go and compare it to the lines the books come out with in the head-to-head matchups. If there's a huge difference, we pounce on it. And last thing I want to say is I do well in pretty much every sport there is, but NASCAR is the easiest of them all. Invest today with myself or Andy for a long-term NASCAR plan.
All right, great stuff from both guys. Andy Lang at Bump Sports on Twitter, Rocky Atkinson at Rocketman Sports on Twitter. Make sure you guys head over to WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Check out all that these guys have to offer NASCAR. I'm so excited to start betting NASCAR.